discussion sparks. So which prospective student behaviors are the strongest factors in how you will engage with your prospective students? Is it coming to campus? Is it emailing your, again, if you have Slate inbox active and you're using that, is it those kinds of engagement metrics where the students are reaching out to you? Is it open click rates, which with automatic opens and clicks from vendors is becoming a harder and harder data element to kind of wrangle into a meaningful way. Again, did some work with that in those workshop walkthroughs previously. But how is the student able to engage with your institution in a trackable way that allows you to understand the student and also create those follow-up communications? This is just an element for you to discuss internally as a team so that you can be more actionable and mindful with the data that you have on your students. And next, how might your current travel strategy shift if we segment by engagement score or persona rather than just geography alone? And a lot of this can come into play at that organization or zip code level. So whether that's creating a thing like quorum scoring, where you are aggregating record volume, conversion metrics, engagement score by or yield scores by the students at these schools or organizations, being able to engage at those overperforming or hyperperforming organizations, or even at the zip code level, of creating these kinds of segmenting scores or personas at the zip code or geomarket level. When you start looking at where your institutional success is, and again, being mindful, asterisk, being mindful of recruitment strategy and any kind of legal parameters or ethical parameters around recruitment travel and where you're planning on your travel at and all that. Again, not legal advice, but understanding where, and again, using, those words that we might not like as a higher education industry, that return on investment, or being able to have that broadest impact on the students at these locations that we can do this recruitment travel at. And it's not just, oh yeah, we've always traveled to this geo market and done these 5 high school visits because someone 7 years ago had family members in that state. So they did recruitment travel there so they could spend a day with family. It's so easy to fall into the cycle of, oh, this is how we did it last year, and this is how we did it the year before, and that we just continue doing it. But if we take a step back, look at the data that we have access to, build the tools and the resources that can harness the data in a productive, impactful way, how is that going to change how you do your recruitment travel? If you do recruitment travel, of course. How does that affect events, whether that's in person, virtual? How does that affect how you advertise? Again, the kind of cognitive space you have with your prospective students is limited. So you might have in one of those 10 emails every week that you send an events-centric call to action, but there's going to be certain segments of the population that's not going to come to campus this week. So being more mindful and strategic with connecting with students where they are and where they are not, and being able to understand the students and use the best making the most out of that cognitive real estate that you have with the students, not abusing their goodwill to open and read your emails or skim them, quite frankly, and making that accessible in a way that, it could even be engagement levels. Maybe a student that is high yield likelihood and the high engagement levels might take an extra second and a half on your emails. So being able to interact with them in a more meaningful and impactful way, because you've already built that bridge. You've already established the trust that you might not have with your, as I see on the screen, when they're clean slate 105,000 prospective students. Not all 105,000 are going to give as much cognitive real estate to you for your emails, for your calls. So understanding who you can reach out to better. Who of these 505,000 are more likely to be receptive to a cold phone call or an extra email a week? You're not going to know that until you start looking at your data historically and seeing how these students make, hey, out-of-state Oliver, never clicked on a event call to action because they're out of state and it's expensive and inflation is high. But they loved student success and career outcomes. So again, don't send them 10 emails a week. Send them the 2 important emails. And as you continue to build that relationship and that trust, you can expand. Okay, we can add a 3rd email because they are always opening. They are always engaging with them. We are always providing impact and resources to a student in each of our emails. So we've already established that we can add another email to Out-of-State Oliver. That again fits, or again, a segment of Out-of-State Oliver that has interest in finance. So whereas we're starting to see other ways we can segment even internally inside the persona. So yeah, just being able to have this understanding of your students, of your geographies, of your organizations, of your zip codes allows you to codify it in scale and automate what you're doing, or just inform that more high cost, high value, high touch initiatives or outreach that you're doing. Again, you can't call 105,000 students, but you know there's a subset of Campus Cruiser Carla. They'll pick up the phone when they see your phone number, and they'll have a half an hour conversation with you. So being able to, and then just knowing that this is this persona has a series of attributes that can help you with that conversation that you're going to have on the phone. And then I think another great discussion spark here is, what are the gaps in your data collection that limit the personas that you can build today? Do you have American Community Survey data turned on in Slate so that you can pull it? I didn't. It's a weird data to pull. I didn't actually go into it because I just added fields. But you have to do a join for every, what is it, like world? Yeah, I don't even have it turned on here. So it's weird. I think that there's a really good video that shows you how to walk through and add the ACS data. Or maybe it's, hey, we need to spring for a little bit more with a vendor to get this contextual ecospherical data. Or maybe it's a thing where we start building an internal library of our 105,000 prospective students. What makes students at a school or a geography or a zip code, what makes them special? What makes them distinct in ways that we can communicate with and connect with? And I think that is such an important element because there are ways to do it. There is, Slate gives it access to you. Vendors give you access to it, but you can also build this in-house. If you have, again, data, Slate is not a data warehouse. Retention records, of course, retention policies are a thing, but you have data in your instance of Slate that you can internally build a library of nuanced, interesting data that can help guide these interactions and help guide your understanding of your students. It's here. It takes lift. It takes a mindset and a creativity to understand what you can do, what you can't do, and what you can tinker with and get to eventually. But you have access to the data. Maybe you need some budget to hire someone to help you with this. Maybe you need to focus less on things that are not impactful in building relationships, or again, that return on investment for the institution, but also for the student. You might be doing things that aren't helping the student and aren't helping your mission as an institution, but you could be spending a lot of time. Maybe it's, okay, we need to automate some of these other elements with the power of Slate, and then we'll use that time that we freed up to do exercises like this, where it's persona generation through students, through organizations, through zip codes, through geomarkets. And again, as you become clearer with who you're engaging with, you can be more focused. And this was an element of my book, the GPS, the guided... I should know these off the top of my head. The guided prioritization strategy. I got it. I looked at the book. It's on my desk. I could flip to it real quick, but I got it. I pulled it. The guided prioritization strategy of, there are so many high cost, high touch, high cost touch, high impact things that you can be doing, but you can't do it for 105,000 prospective students. but you can do it for the students that it's actually going to move the needle for. And you don't know who it's going to move the needle for until you start understanding the data in your system. So those are our 3 discussion sparks. So what are the important data points? How are those data points going to move your strategy and your practices? But also, what can you be collecting? Whether that's an inquiry form, that in a long inquiry form, don't your first touch inquiry form, 5, 6, 7 questions. Don't make it long. Redirect it to a longer inquiry form. Have it as a randomized dynamic call to action on your emails, so students can tell you more about their interests and their motivations. Don't make that inquiry form hard for people to fill out. Get the name in your system. What do they call it when you have like a drip campaign to collect additional pieces of information one at a time? There was a great podcast I listened to that last year, I think. Again, the dangers of me just going off the top of my head. I'm getting off script. But anyways, so what is the data that you could be using? Whether you can spin it up internally, you can start collecting it, you can reach out to a vendor to add it. What is the data limitations and opportunities at your institution that can help with this process of understanding your students, understanding your geographies, understanding your schools, and bridge that gap? What's the highest priority, and start from there. What's the biggest impact for the amount of money, time, and resources that you're going to spend to get it? You might have this could move the needle 5%, but it's going to take $100,000. Well, okay, move the needle 1% for $1,000. And snowball, build, iterate, get momentum, and demonstrate at your institution that when we focus on these things, when we spend the time, the resources, the money, we make an impact, we serve the institution, we serve the student better, and more opportunities for funding will come, more recognition for the work that you're doing, the systems that you provide, and the processes that you are able to enable will continue to grow. So what are those gaps? What can you pilot? What can you say, hey, we're going to try this. If it works well, we'll add additional resources to this. What are those opportunities at your institution right now? And